Good old EcoTEC 2.4 water pump. It's pretty nice how GM designed this thing for when the seals in the shaft start leaking. As you can see, they separated the area that seals into the timing cover. So you have virtually no risk when your shaft seal inside on the pump side of this thing, when it starts leaking, it comes out there and then runs out this pocket. So this way, unlike other manufacturers, when that shaft seal wears out and starts leaking, their coolant goes straight into the crankcase, and then most people just keep driving it until the engine stops working. So as you can see, this is GM factory pump I purchased from a dealership. Nice steel impeller there. And when I do a job that involves this much work, I'm going to use the OEM part, because maybe it's just me, but the parts at the parts stores just don't last like they used to. So as you can see, there's your pocket to separate your oil side from your liquid coolant side. So then when you go over here, there's your part number. Pay attention for the holograph now, but eventually they'll probably start counterfeiting that too with a lot of these companies out there. So I get it from the dealer. So here's also the inspection plate cover gasket in case you buy the special tool. There's your part number there, made in USA. Obviously you can't have everything made in USA, so this is a $12 O-ring that goes on the tube that transfers from the thermostat housing. That's $12 a piece, so keep that in mind. If you buy the ones that are from your local parts stores, God knows what rubber they're made out of, but this one here has lasted 9 years and 170,000 miles. So for $12 a piece, I am more than happy to buy another overpriced O-ring. Then, as everyone knows, for the job too, get yourself the special tool. Allows you to snake the water pump without doing the entire timing cover pull. So I got the full moon, is what most people call it. Nice thing about the full one is once this guy bolts in, you can't have the screws fall down into the timing cover. This was about 50 bucks on Amazon. So there's your OTC 6616. When you start tearing into the vehicle, something else with these EcoTEC engines, the infamous cracked exhaust manifolds. When you start hearing it on startup, like you have an exhaust leak and then it goes away after about 3 to 5 minutes. Extra long length ratcheting wrenches, so now they have them in flex I've seen too. These are the cat's meow. When you need to get deep down into an engine on the side, boom, these things are perfect. So as you can see here, I'm taking the inspection cover off, and I'm just using one of those nice ratcheting wrenches. Just keep on going, makes it nice and easy. So another quick one here. Here's the inspection plate. So here's the gasket. Of course, you need to buy one of these. This one's obviously shot. You can see the seal's all gone. Now, something that I wish I would have known ahead of time from some other people. You can see here, when engines are designed, GM has what would be like a typical 10-year corrosion test that the parts have to survive as a requirement. Apparently this one here didn't even make 9 years without breach of seal. So if you go to order parts from the dealer, you probably want to get this plate. So I cleaned up the plate. You can see the gasket's corroded, but now you can see this is all pitting. So when you get the new pump, you're going to have to get these bolts off, so I'll show you a quick, easy way to do that. A lot of people like to use brake cleaner or other things, and those things tend to leave residues, and those residues over time can actually attack certain types of rubbers or synthetic rubbers. So without knowing what kind of rubber is on there, what you want to clean it up with is acetone. You don't want to use any other type of cleaners because acetone, as they state here, leaves no residue. So if you go to put this bolt back in, you're afraid of dropping it because it goes right down in the timing cover. What I do is I use electrical tape. I'll clean my socket off, use electrical tape, and then I'll tape the screw to the top of it. You can see how I have some clearance there, just a little bit. So after you get it threaded in, what happens then when you yank the socket back, this will obviously give, leaving the screw screwed in. So all you gotta do is get the thread started, 3, 4, 5 turns, and then just yank the socket out. And there's basically no risk of dropping that bolt down into the timing cover when you're trying to find the alignment on your hole. Got 2 of the bolts in. You can see how when I pull the socket back, the electrical tape extends out and releases the bolt right here. Those 4, and then you guys pop the water pump back with the pry bar. Some of you might be wondering about using this particular tool and if it'll drop the bolts. So after these guys get screwed all the way in, see how this thing, it floats? So these are tight. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to show you how when you buy the full moon, this is one of the old bolts that came out of the old pump. I used the bolts with the new pump. So let's say you drop this guy into one of these, oh no, I lost it in there. So now you're wondering, with the full moon tool, does it stop the bolt? So there you can see is the biggest gap you can get. And no. That bolt is in there. But it won't fall out even if you just drop it in. You can see how it's kind of jammed up in there. There you go, now you can really see it. That bolt will not fall through. So here's the seals on that pipe that transfers the coolant across the back of the engine. You can see at the top of this seal how it's flat. So there is some compression set. Same thing on the water pump. See the seal? The one I just put in the car, this actually was like a mountain. But here, it's compression set flat. For the water outlet, when you get the new seal, it's a round one. It's got some ridges around the edges too, so you can see the ridges. So here's the part number. They took me for 20 bucks at the dealer for this one, but it is what it is and I needed it. So when you look at it at first, you're like, it must be a rectangular seal, but it's not. How would you like to be the guy in a low-cost country making 10 bucks a day, taking the round seals and putting them into a rectangular port? Anyways, so I'm going to clean these surfaces with acetone and a Scotch-Brite pad by hand, and then put the new seal in and bolt this guy back up. You go to vacuum fill your cooling system after you put it back together. I don't have the nice $50, $60 special adapter to go to one of these things, so I use some sticky tack, just putty type tack you get at the hardware store. And there's the vent tube for the radiator cap goes all the way straight through it to the bottom. There's a hole underneath right here, so if you take the putty, you can just stick it right underneath and block up that hole nice and tight. And then when you pull your vacuum, you don't have to worry about the drain hole that now shoots the overflow into the transmissions with these new car designs. So we're holding a pretty good vacuum here, almost darn near 30 inches. So now we'll got the bucket of coolant there, and we will start sucking it in. As you can see, the system is now full. All the air was sucked out. Rev it. One more time. Without bad luck, I would have no luck. So, as usual, with these crank pullers, you always strip out the threads the last time you used them, and then you never buy the bolts, you know, until you need them. So I went to the store, got bolts, just able to snake them in there. But with this puller, the alignment of those bolts is just a hair off, and I'll probably strip out the threads in the crank pulley if I don't find a different puller. So now I'm going to be running around for probably half a day trying to find a crank puller that can work with this. Just got back from the parts stores, 3 of them. Everyone kind of looked at me dumb, like, what do you mean a GM specific kit? So everyone verified, yeah, they see it online, but they don't have it. And of course it's Sunday. So as you can see here, I got shorter bolts. I can fit the top 2 in. They're pretty tight, so I might just need to nick the inside edge of this casted tool. And then the bottom one, as you can see, it's just completely angled. So I looked at carbide burrs to try to elongate this hole, but they're like 16 bucks. I ain't paying that for a carbide burr. So I'm gonna get my oxy torch and I'm gonna torch this slot down, and then it should get the bolt to be able to shoot straight in. And then hopefully after about 2 hours here of you know, trying to get this harmonic balancer off, I'll be ready to go. Here's a top view. You can see the bottom part. I torched, elongated that hole, and I also elongated the cornered one there. Then while the thing was in the air, I took my torch and I knocked off all the burrs and everything at the bottom, so I had a relatively flat surface after I shot the metal down. So now this guy will work with the GM crank pulley. Alright, so in case anyone's wondering, I used a size 1 tip for my oxyacetylene torch, and you can see now just barely a little bit of play there. Let me show you how bad of a day I'm actually having with my luck. Watch, this is loose. Watch this. You can pull it out by your hand, and I just spent 3 hours trying to find a tool, make a tool, get the bolts, everything set up, only to find out that you can just slide this thing out with your hand. I might as well just go to bed and wake up tomorrow and see how a new day would be.